Boy, oh boy, I've just been having the biggest. OBS and YouTube just did not work together today at all. Hopefully this is actually up and running now. See, my chat, if my chat window doesn't work, chances are I'm not actually up. So, but here I am. Chances are I'm not live and direct. So, but here I am. Live and direct. Okay, cool. So it sounds like the volume's coming through. Okay, I'm going to drop that down so it doesn't get annoying. I've got some really quick social media posting I need to do. And then we're going to do some Bob Ross style terrain painting, environment painting for a D&D adventure that we're creating called Crystals of Mabar. It's in the Eberron campaign setting in the karrnwood of Karrnath on the continent of Corvair. Those that know, you know. For those that don't, stick around. We'll endlessly talk about it, I'm sure. We are quickly approaching our 500th episode of creating all of the maps, tokens, illustrations, layouts, production of this adventure. And I'm pretty excited about that. So we're creating a Bob Ross style painting right now. Looks like that's okay. Okay, cool. My social medias are done. I can flip screen now here. Let's drop this in and let's say, I did not expect to see so many new subscribers from yesterday. God bless you folks. I'm glad that what I'm doing is cool. Thanks for being here. Here's a bunch of books I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have free previews. I create content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I paint in the morning. I do game design in the evening and afternoons. So later on tonight, I'll be back like in 11 and a half hours from now. I'll be back on doing game design for D&D. So if you think the artwork today is cool, you want to see me do more stuff, like subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we are live in the future. And I guess without further ado, let's see. I have this, and here I'm just gonna drop this down a little bit to keep it out of the way. This is the book cover we made around episode 40, but that's not what's important right now. Bam, here we go. We're doing a Bob Ross painting, so let's look at some Bob Ross stuff, shan't we? Hey-o. Cool, here we go. Yeah, we've been using digital brushes to create a forest. This is where we've gotten to so far. We're on this hill here now. Let me get rid of that and look at the, here's the composition that we have here. The line art, and looking at where we are currently at with the terrain. Does this hill help or hinder our efforts currently? And I actually think we spent like maybe 4 or 5 minutes on that at the end of shift yesterday. Yesterday was a great session. Again, thanks a lot for so many new faces and folks supporting our work here. So flip horizontal. Let's see if this is actually aligned with where I have my my terrain roughed out. Let's clean this up a little bit, because we could maybe just keep this. But this isn't where we're at yet. I'm just making sure we don't waste content that we've created. I'm just like recycling it and then flipping it over just to make a better use out of it. So let's just clean that up a little bit and drop that away so we can push that up here. Let's stay focused. Let's stay focused down here for now. So actually, I do want to grab that color. Thank you very much. Here. How does this do? That feels right. Okay, cool. I think I know where we're at. We're going to want to drop some shrubbery in here and another tree. And again, I want to create a little bit of separation between this layer and the current one. And we can do that because of that fade in the background. It can help stand out even though we're using a similar color. Let's up the smudge strength here just a smidge. Push here, work that into the canvas. Yeah, that feels pretty good. So we'll be doing this for a few minutes. Hey, tell me timer. We'll be doing this for a few minutes while we work in the rest of the piece here. So I want to clip this. something like that. Push uphill like this. Let's grab this dark over here. Use that. I got this interesting encroachment here. Work that into the canvas. Working our way back down into the foreground. The brushes that we're using, they're on, if you check in the link down below, it'll say 500 subscriber Patreon thank you or something like that. But all the brushes that I use to make these digital paintings, I dropped into an ABR file, ABR for Adobe brush. Adobe brushes ABR. So an ABR file works with like Krita and Clip Art Studio. I think it works. I still need to see if Corel's still around or not, but ABR file is just basically the standardized brush file that can be transferred between digital art programs. So I posted that. You don't have to be a paying member. Bless you if you do. But all I ask is that you just follow me on Patreon and you can have them. So I'll be doing more stuff with Patreon as we continue forward with the next series of books that we're going to be publishing, which is going to include the Bastion campaign system, the Martial Powers alternate magic system, the updated 2024 Color Mana Spell Point variant rules using all the 2024 D&D mechanics for character creation, and just updating the sensibilities of how the spell point system works for D&D in the 5e24 era, as well as the Spelljammer subclasses, the Kaiju and Mecha book. That's all the big things, like the big ticket items that I have planned for the next like year and a half or whatever, 2 years. We'll see how long it takes me to make the artwork for them. Right, that's basically the speed of the art is the speed of the ship, and I can only produce so much art so quickly, as you guys have observed over the past 500 episodes of me doing this. But once I have an obligation to get this adventure finished, because Stuart Braz was my editor, and the old goat Andy Headley was a co-writer on this, and they're very, very patiently waiting for me to finish the artwork to publish this, so that they can see the final product. So, and get paid. So a lot of projects on DMsGuild in particular are collaborations with other designers, getting together and sharing the profits of the thing that we build. So they take a gamble up front with their labor, with the hopes that this is going to be a successful endeavor. And so that's one of the reasons why I really just try to give my all in the artwork that I do here, because if anything is going to make something stand out in 2025 on the internet, it's good art, that good original art and good composition and wholeness of vision, and lack of uninspiring content. Like AI can produce content quickly, but it's not actually very inspiring. Anyone that's inspired by prompts that are generated by AI are basically lacking inspiration in general. Otherwise, why the hell would they go to a chat bot to give them an idea of what their next campaign is supposed to be? I mean, other than the sheer novelty of having a computer tell you what to do with your next campaign. It's like, if you've got the idea for a campaign that you want to run people through for X months, you should probably have a pretty well formulated idea about what that romp is going to be like over the next few months. So, but I'm being critical. I don't mean to be critical of our digital brethren. They will have their own rights and feelings of their own for us to respect in the future. For now, let's just all accept that computers don't create dreams, though they may be capable of translating them. If you're going to believe the mystics in that dreams is a chance for our soul to visit elsewhere, then we must ask, do robots dream of electric sheep? Okay, I like that hill. That's a good fade. Looking at our composition overall, I want to have just some another dusting of shrubbery down here, and I feel like a tree could fit in really nicely here to break frame with this. It's too linear here, so I feel like I want to hit that with a tree. So, in doing my gut check here, how is that feeling? Maybe if I have it, like literally go off page. That might not be a bad idea. To have a thick trunk on the right hand edge to help frame, like build frame, because we have the filigree framing around the page that is going to basically block off the left edge of the page as a border will do. But on the right hand side it's just a fade into the text. So I feel like having a thick trunk here that we can not only detail the texture of the trunk, but also show the different the fungus that's growing. That's the fungus that spreads with the manifest zone that's been created. I feel like we've got room here to do that. I dearly enjoyed making the background ridge that we made yesterday, but it might not have much of a future in the envisioned. And we could do something like that and bring it into the picture a little bit more. Is that too much? That was an accident, I swear, but let's see what happens. Do I like that? No, I feel like I can. Let's back it off a little bit like that. That's not bad though. It's a little more choked up than it was. So let's bring it over here just a little bit, maybe. I don't see this here. What I don't want is to have connection across here as though it's one piece. You always want to have like a little gap between these to help create air and space between the layers, so that your eye can decide how much space is actually between each of these masses. So actually dropping that down a little bit lower, that actually feels really good. Now we're starting to add we're adding a lot of interest and density here. It's flowing. You can see how the amount of detail is kind of like flowing along the edge here, but it's really blank over here. So this is a resting area for our eye right now. We're going to drop some fog in here to thicken the mystique of the place. So this isn't wasted space, but it is resting space. Your eye doesn't have to work as hard over here. So we're having it chew up all this visual information on the right hand side, and then it flows through and it softens over here. So we want to have this hard edge along here of information, and we want to have that flow over to this side of the page. We want our eye to be able to dance from here to here to here. Bounce. So start here to here to here, and then we can start looking up here at the trees, and we bounce over here. That's how you want your eye to bounce around the page, and you can make your topography match that bouncing. So this is some of the idea that I'm thinking about while we're building the composition. So now we have that in place. Let's build another knoll, shan't we? And then we'll put a tree in behind it, and we'll see where we're sitting. So I'm going to grab. Let's grab this and see what happens. That's probably too light of a color. It won't make a good shadowy foundation. So I'm going to move that. Let's grab this dark over here. This has already proven itself to be a pretty good base composition. Obviously, this is fading into the proverbial woodwork behind it. So let's get to there. Let's take the same pattern. Let's put it on a 30% eraser. So every time I tap it, it only releases 1/3 of the information that's been placed on the page. I want to raise up this a little bit. This little nook, little space in here, I like that. I want to preserve it. There, so by using a little bit of an eraser, it drops the, add a little bit back in here. And by using the eraser, it fades into the already fading environment. So it starts to simulate this fog-like effect for us. Hey, what's going on? Domo Domo! Man, things are good. I'm having a good day. I wouldn't say I'm well rested, but I feel bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. So I'm gonna take that as a victory. Again, we're gonna fade this in a little bit here. We'll probably create a second line in front of this one once we get all the color information built into this one. Here, now I want to base. Come on, man. My tools are sticking. The keystrokes and the pen motion. So I'll hit a key to change what kind of to change to the zoom tool, for instance. I'll hit the Z button to turn zoom on, and then I drag the pen back and forth to zoom in and zoom out. But when I'm using OBS, there's a time delay for Photoshop to recognize that I've changed the tools, and so I just end up just pushing a smudge or an eraser or a pen back and forth. And why are you doing that? Because I'm trying to freaking zoom. Photoshop hasn't acknowledged the fucking signal yet. There it is. What a headache. See, there was a time delay. Not happy about those time delays, but this is looking good. Man, my first world problems here with these tools, man. I tell you. And then we'll do the same eraser effect here on these highlights. That'll help. As we get closer to the camera, we need to add more depth, more detail. So like back here with all these tree lines, I would do one color and then I just do another color over it, and I'd either have 100% or 0% pigment. There was no fade or like transition. But as we move forward in the piece closer to the camera, we want to add in more details because your eye is going to be looking for more details closer up. Otherwise, the same amount of texture and information from one bush to another, which moving back in the page, it starts to flatten the page because you're seeing that the actual size and detail of the shrubbery. Like I could use this same brush patterning of this foliage here. I could use it further into the foreground as a cluster of flowers on a bush limb, but then I'm using the same texture at the same scale at a different position on the page. The eye is going to need a lot of convincing to ignore that. Otherwise, you're going to start snapping those details together, and it'll flatten everything from this point further down on the page. It'll just collapse it into just mush. So you'll lose the illusion of depth because you're not changing the size and texture and detail as you move closer to the page. So you can fake it for a while with layers of density. Like back here we have, it's pretty monochrome back here. It's dark or it's light, and that's all there is to it. But as we move closer to the page, we have dark, mid, and light tones, but it's all 100% pixel, no fading or integration. And now here, once we get past this ridge line here and we're moving here, now we're seeing 3 colors, and we're using a smudge fade effect to show how light is hitting at different depths of the bush. So we're adding levels of reality and complexity to, again, allow your eye to believe it's working so that you'll shorthand it in your mind. And it just comes across as, yeah, that's dense foliage. There you go. Good job. I won't have to think about it anymore because you've given it an excuse to just hand wave it. It's when you do a shitty job with your illusion that your eye starts to go, wait, well, hold on, what are you guys doing here? And if you're doing line art, that's fine because you're holding on to, yeah, this is an illustration. So look at how I'm like, look at the sculpting that I'm doing with the line art, like noticing its line art in comic books is often the point. It's like, this is line work, enjoy the art of it. Don't get lost in any kind of idea that you need to have any sort of realism. But when you're doing a painting, being able to simulate realism is it's a different vibe. It's a boon. This isn't an illustration for illustration. This is creating a mood for a scene and us dropping in better levels of reality, closer to realism, away from line art is going to help create that. Is going to help stir that emotion. Hey, what's up? Thank you. So far, so good. Yeah, it's just Bob Ross techniques, man. It's just everything that Bob Ross does, but digitally. So I'm glad this stuff is resonating with you, because I've done. Most of you guys have no idea who I was when I was doing this stuff, but I did about 120 Bob Ross paintings in 2017 to learn how to do environments like this in Photoshop, so I could get my character art and my creature art and my structures and terrains and stuff that I'm doing for D&D to elevate my landscape, so that you have this. Hold on, I'm gonna take a sip of coffee and I'm gonna pontificate. I'm on a tear this morning. Hang on. So you've got all these different aspects of art, right? You've got like landscape, and you've got like character art, and you've got like equipment and items, monsters, structures, vehicles could be a thing, spell-like effects like the casting of magic. Like those are like 7 different genus of art, and they all have their own techniques, and they have their own. The artist who does all those things is going to develop different solutions for each of those different genus of art, or of fantasy art stuff. So they don't all advance together. Like my vehicle artwork was lagging pretty far behind until we did the Spelljammer book and focused 100 some odd pages on getting good at doing ship art. So like that was a journey I was really excited to do the Spelljammer book, because I wanted to take that journey and get good at making vehicles. And I think I was successful. I'm happy with the results. I said it weird like that. I don't know why. I'm going to do this. Got a bit darker underneath. I'm sure we're here to help make it pop out. Cool. Now I can do a fade here. So it just melts in. It's so nice. We'll build up a couple layers of these to help create to help shape the conical topography of this hill. Forgive the word salad. If I'm word salading at you, it's with the best intentions. But see, we're fanning out like spokes on a wheel, I guess. Drop that down to just a mere 10%. Help fade that in. Then we'll add a bit more back in, just to break it up a little bit. Push that back up to 30%. Fade erase in. Yeah, the fog creates like this underlighting. The manifest zone, where the fog is coming from, it has this green tinged glowing fungus that grows on the ground, and it's the zone itself is locked in darkness, but there's so much of this viridescent fungus on the ground that it creates dim light that's diffused through the fog, so vision is obscured beyond 40 feet. So everything, the undead, their vision isn't clouded by the fog at all. They can see you fucking plain as day from a football field away easily. And you can hear them grunting and growling in the mists, but you need true sight, like true sight, to be able to see them. And if you have tremor sense, you'll be able to pick up on them, but it'll be like at the last minute. Once they're within 40 feet of you, like it's just one round of, it's like you've got just their basic movement, they're on you. So it's for 7th and 8th level characters, and there's a lot of aspects of the adventure forces you to have close contact to mobs of creatures. So we've been developing. We already were looking at mass combat solutions to have low CR creatures attacking your higher level characters, and then 5e24 happened. And they added new mechanics about mobs in the DMG, and they're horrible. They're just the fucking worst. They are the most Wizards of the Coast solution to a 5e problem that I've seen. It's a FACO-like table that you compare the armor class of the target that the entire mob is attacking, and you compare that to the armor class of each individual creature that's being attacked by the mob. And then, so like if there's like an armor class of 20 and you're like +4 to hit, and there's 7 creatures in the mob, on their chart table, that means that 2 creatures would hit you. So if you can be attacked by 7 of these creatures with an armor class 20, but you have to calculate that for each individual, like you have to look up on the chart for each individual armor class. In my playtest right now, I've got somebody with a 22 armor class, a 20 or sometimes 21 armor class, and a 17 armor class, and a 19 armor class. So I've got like 4-5 different armor classes that if I hit them with a mob of like 7 zombies, I'm gonna have to look up on the stupid fucking chart to see how many of that mob is supposed to hit you or not. What we did was we converted mobs into a trap. So mobs are now mobile hazards that deal damage that you save to reduce. And the more creatures in the mob, the higher the difficulty check is, strength or dexterity, to resist being damaged by the horde. So uncanny dodge comes in, or rather evasion works well for rogues and eventually rangers that are fighting this horde of monsters that they get buried in. If you save, you take half damage. Otherwise, the amount of monsters that are in there, like you'll have a preset amount of damage that like 2 creatures can do, and then depending on the proficiency tier of those creatures, you ratchet up how much damage they do by adding on another creature. And you have the base DC for the creature, and then for every additional monster you add to the mob, based on its CR, you ratchet up the DC according to their proficiency bonus. So if you have like CR6, like if you have a mob of like 8 CR6 creatures that are a +3 proficiency bonus, your initial DC might be like, say, 15, but there's 7 of them, so 15, and then it's CR3, 18, 21, 24, 27, and then 30. It'll eventually be a DC 33, but every time you kill one, it drops the DC by 3. So you want to kill the mob as fast as you can to drop the DC before it's your turn to have to take a saving throw again. If you can whittle down 1, 2, 3 of those creatures, by the time, if you killed 3 of them by the time they're going to do another mob attack, the DC is already dropped down to 21. From 33 to 21. But you're not going to hit the team with a mob of 8 CR6 creatures unless they're like level 12. And they're going to have like a +7 to their saving throw. So a 33, they're not going to be able to avoid it, and you're just mobbing them. But by the time they kill 2 or 3 of them, it becomes manageable for them to succeed on the saving throw. So you're damaging them over time, much like an ongoing trap that they have to solve. They can either kill all the creatures in the trap, or run away from it to outdistance it so they don't have to take direct melee damage. But it's there we go. I love that. I think this is looking really good. So this ranting's working for us today, my guys. Yeah. Oh god, I love that. I love that layering. Okay, so let's get back into here, and we're going to grab another highlight. Let's grab this language here. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, that's going to be plenty. So okay, now we can use this as our highlight. That actually might be too sharp of a color. I don't want it to be the same color as this. At least the underlighting. I don't want that to be the same color because that's just going to make it too. It's going to homogenize it too much, so it's going to destroy depth. It has to be different. Let's switch it up. Let's switch to our curved fan brush. Hey, what's up? The heavy calculations I'm referring. Oh, what's going on? That's a lot of heavy calculations for a single mob against. Yeah, it is. I just use a single hit point pool, multiple attacks based on size of the mob, and reduces hit points as they go down. What I'm doing is I'm taking 8 creatures, and instead of me rolling out 8 attacks and 8 damages, I'm having the team, anyone who's in physical contact with the mob, makes a saving throw. So it's 1 die, and it's them acting during my turn, so they stay engaged. And it's going to either be full damage or half damage, so they're guaranteed to take damage. I could attack your 15th level fighter with 8 zombies that have a +3 to hit, and they're not going to fucking hit. Not for you'll get 1, maybe 2 hits before the mob is dead. This way, if I have more creatures in the mob than you have action economy to kill them, then you're going to take at least enough damage that you're going to spend a healing hit die or 2 on a short rest if you don't want to spend the mana to heal there on the spot. It's a way to, that's what traps are supposed to do. Traps are supposed to deplete resources. How do you trigger traps on a team that's on an outdoor adventure? You either have to have a shitload of bear traps and falling log traps, but that's 18 Predator style. I know you're coming, I'm going to kill you now by making this a death forest. Or you need to have something that can replicate and replace traps that narratively makes sense in the environment. It just doesn't make sense other than a very rare bear trap. It doesn't make much sense to have just shitloads of traps in this forest to deplete your resources between the village and the manifest zone. So once you're in the manifest zone, there's a lot of undead, and they're starting to come out of the manifest zone and attack the environment around us. So you'll have the opportunity to run across them. But yes, at higher levels, this is just a way to be able to make the team afraid of these low-level mobs, because if they come in contact with them, they do take damage. And since you don't see which direction, since you can't see them before they can see you, you as a team don't necessarily know from what angle they're going to hit you, which means that whoever's supposed to be in the back could find themselves in the front when they're being attacked from any angle. So it's by the time you get to 8th, 9th level, your team is getting pretty cocky and fearless about stuff. That's just how the 5e game engine works. You get strong around level 9, really strong. So we wanted to implement solutions that would terrify the characters with low-level threats, because these CR need to be a low enough level that NPC mercenaries can deal with them, actually physically deal with them. But when you get too many of them together, it becomes overwhelming. And I think these mobile hazards is the solution, and it's been. We've retooled it for 2024 mechanics. I've been playtesting it in our home table for a while now. I'm really happy with the effects, like low amounts of damage that you have to save against, and that it keeps, and that the DC and the damage you take keeps dropping as you drop creatures from the swarm. It's working out really well. So I am confident that we can transfer that in, because we're dealing with CR 1/4 to CR 2 creatures, so the team is going to wipe them. And it's just a matter of how quickly are they capable of doing it. I'll drop down the size here, just kind of have this stuff dance out here into the terrain a little bit. Like that. But I mean, there's no, there's no one way to rock. I'm not saying that anyone's doing it the wrong way. I'm just saying that this is that the goals that we are looking to achieve for the feeling that we want in the adventure, the mob mechanics that we have it's doing the trick. I was honestly concerned because I was like, you know what, these 2024 rules are different from 2015. Let's see how that jives, and we've been pretty successful in converting everything into 5e 2.4 language, but that mob rule was something that admittedly we needed to explore a little bit further to make sure that 2025 is working the way that we want it to, and we're really happy with the results. It's good. It's a threat that has to be dealt with. It's different from normal combat, so it's not as boring as like just low level combat, like low CR mob monsters can be. It's just a lot of dice and a lot of adding and a lot of waiting around, what's the result. That's not healthy. That's not healthy for the table moving around. So let's add in. Bit. All right, I'm lacking. That's got a very samey sort of feel, so I'm going to drop this a bit. Drop this a bit. Have it sink into the space a little bit better. Honestly, I don't think this is adding any value over here. Whoop. Let's do this. I'm just gonna get rid of that. And we'll just erase this a little bit. That feels more interesting. Okay, now we'll do flower bud highlights. Let's go over here. Let's go color hunting, shan't we? Hey, what's up? All right, yeah. The assumption that the schematics due to the number of attacks, something is bound to get through. So just treat it as a single save to get the same outcome. Makes sense. Yeah, and then it becomes a hazard. So you can group all those creatures together as a hazard threat CR trap, with the saving throw and damage amount setting what the difficulty what the CR and XP reward for it as a trap is, as opposed to each individual monster adding up the experience points and then giving that out. So it's really easy. Like in mobs of 4, 6, and 9, you can have at 8th level you can have CR 1/4, 1, and 2, and those are 4, 6, and 9, 1/4, 1, CR2. That's a good scale for you to be able to mess around with, which gives you zombies and skeletons and ghouls and ghasts, all the common sort of low tier undead that are scary as fuck when you're a low level character, but by the time you get to 8th, 9th level, it's like these are not significant threats. It's like, great, here, chew on 8 of them. Like, fuck. Okay, here they come. Let's deal with them. And then it's a matter of like how quickly can your team get rid of them without having to burn through too many resources. You can just throw as many of those mobs at people as you want whenever nothing is going on. Like, here comes another mob, make a saving throw. And you can just chew through your team that way a little bit and whittle them down. Anyway, you get it. That's not a dark enough color. I don't want to use this same color, so we're gonna go down to here. Let's see if this is. I'm gonna do this. Preserve that angle. And we're gonna use a 100% eraser here. That's what I love about 5e. There's so many different ways to be able to like if you have any one mechanic in 5e, you can approach it from a completely different angle and have the same narrative but different mechanics that are still valid for 5e. It has enough diversity built into the game engine around roll d20, add bonuses, high is good. Like that is such a loose core mechanic for a role-playing game that it can be reflavored so many different ways. Like converting combat into a trap, that's a way of extracting all of the combat mechanics, and during the DM's turn it's an exploration challenge. You have to make your saving throw and try to maneuver your way from getting overrun by the mob. And on the player's side, it becomes either a puzzle of how can we get away from them, like find a place to trap them or outdistance them and escape them, or combat, how quickly can we drop, how many can we drop quickly so we don't have to worry about making another saving throw. And then there's the position consideration, like is our bard out of position? Is our rogue getting flanked too much? Like once they start surrounding you, they grapple, or and if you fail your save, restrain you, and now you can't move. So like your rogue's evasion isn't going to be helpful if he's stuck in space. Like if he can't move, he can't evade. It's like if he gets overrun, that's a problem for your squishy rogue. They need help to get out. It's like your team has to spend action economy to pull them out of the mob, which is a theme that you see like in Ramirez movies, right? It's you. People are starting to get overrun by a mob, and you literally have to pull them out of the mob. Like that's your action being spent to basically lend your friend a saving throw boost, advantage on their saving throw to succeed their saving throw, or their ability check to break free from a grapple. So because you're making one saving throw as against the mob as an entity, you only need one action to escape the grapple with them as well, as opposed to having to make 8 separate grapple checks because there's 8 creatures on you. Like you don't have enough action economy to escape that. That would be a death spiral. So by treating the mob as a single creature of a larger size, like large or huge size that you need to deal with, it becomes it's mechanically consistent with the premise of what a mob as a hazard is. It's like you can't like you can whittle down the DC by killing individual creatures, but you don't have to worry about escaping. Like you don't have to make, like ghouls, you don't have to make 12 saving throws to see if you get affected or not. You just make one saving throw, and it's part of your mob attack. So when you use your initial evasion to get away from the mob, that's going to determine, am I going to be affected like by the paralysis, or am I going to be affected by whatever. Like a ghoul's paralysis is a DC 13, but the mob has a DC of 27. So if you at least get a 13, sure, you might take full damage, but you won't be paralyzed. So like it has, so if you're attacking people with mobs that have condition effects, that's a fun way to make that process simple too. Let's I don't know. Am I word salading a lot today? I feel like I'm off mark. There, we'll do that. One more layer. I want to create a curve here, but erase most of it, so I needed to add another layer so I wouldn't destroy the stuff underneath it. That feels pretty good. I can easily, there's so many layers in here, I can easily drop a tree somewhere inside that. So merge these down, they're all the same. Yeah, no kidding, right? I guess the goal is to turn off my brain, distract my brain from the art, so that the art can just do what it does. So yeah, but this is feeling pretty good. You're absolutely right, Domo. You know this channel. Well done, sir. Well done. Okay, I'm gonna conceal that for a second to see how these layers are sitting. Yeah, these are the same. Huh. Here. Sorry, there's a little bit of a drag on the program, but I'm trying to merge layers so that it doesn't continue to stack up as a problem. Mm-hmm. 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 There we go. Okay, so merge this down here. Merge this here. Merge this here. There you go. Merge this here. Good. That's good tiling there. And I can fold that all together. And now we can make another tree. It's time for a tree. Give me a second here. I want to take a pull of coffee, and just take a second to contemplate our future together, shan't we? Welcome to the mix, folks. If you're new to the channel, we're doing a Bob Ross painting for the fantasy role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons. It's in a pine forest called the Karrnwood. There's undead out there in the murk. So we're going to finish the forest. We're going to add in some mist to make it more murky. And this is one of 98 pages in the adventure, and a good 20 some odd pages still need illustrations on them. So we're going to be at this for a couple months, looking to be published somewhere between September and November. So we show up every day, Monday through Friday in the morning like this, to do more art. And when it's all done, we publish, and then we pick up the next book, and we start over, building out the mechanics, and then doing the layouts, having an editor clean it up for us. After the page layouts, we can then do actual illustrations, just like we're doing now, but it'll be for a completely different book. I have no idea. Actually, I do. It's going to be the Bastions campaign is going to be the next book that we do, which is something that we had developed. I want to say 2 or 3 months ago. We stopped developing it. It was a 3-month project, and we basically rebuilt the Bastion campaign engine for 5e24. If you're here for the artwork, you have no idea about D&D. Just give me a pass on this. But suffice it to say, it's good news to be able to build out an alternate system for Bastion Dominion. I'm going to do this. Let's change that real quick. E 100%. First off, we got this smudge going on here for the lighting, and now there. We can afford to thicken it just a smidge. That looks really good. I'm happy with that. Good texture. Good call. Thicker tree, thicker trunk than any other trees back there. There's a samedness to the trunks that we're seeing through here. And I'm okay with that. So this one's thicker. That's going to help it. This is thicker again. This is starting to establish, like, this is the thinnest back here. This one's thicker, thicker still, thickest. So that's creating a language. Again, that's same item, different size, smaller thing further away. So this helps reinforce that depth. And having larger, smaller, 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 that's creating the same sort of snake-like effect through the forest that's generally matching the snake-like of the mist on the ground here. You see how that goes like here, 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 here. We're seeing here, here, here for the pathing on different size trunks that I can track. So there's that same flow movement through the piece. It's not breaking frame or flipping. It's creating a guide. It's creating these slaloms for your eye to move around inside the piece through. That generally makes it fun to look at shit like this. So there's our trunk. Let's add in a new layer just to have it there. Whew, boy, this is a monster dock, guys. I'm gonna hit save here real quick and take a sip of water. Now let's do. This is going to be where we start doing broken limbs. We'll go to see how these trees have all these snap branches, and then there's canopy further up. That's kind of how pine trees work. As the forest gets denser, their lower extremities die away and create breathing room and circulation between the trunks, while the top canopy filters. You can see how the sunlight's being filtered through the pine, through all the pine needle branches that are still up further in elevation over here. You can see at this angle, the sun would be coming through over here, and there has to be branches up here further away from the camera. That would be like, say, about here on this trunk. So we're seeing this pockmark, and I can grab this color here. This will be good for texturing with when we get to texturing trunks. We're going to the way that we're going to do it is I've specifically not textured the trunks at all yet, because I want to set the foreground is going to set the depth of texture and detail on the closest tree, and then we'll erode the amount of detail as we move further and further away through the piece. So if I start too far back, the amount of detail that I'm going to put into the trunk isn't going to align with the level of detail in the foliage. So it's better for me in this instance to work high detail first, and then reduce the amount of detail as we move further away in the page to establish what the texture is, and to see how it erodes into just. And then back here we're basically having like a singular color trunk. So we'll have that transition. So having said that, we've got snap branches here, but I don't think I want all of them snapped. So we're gonna add in a normal branch here. We're gonna thicken it like we haven't thickened other branches in the past. So we're actually adding dimensionality and detail. Actually, I don't need the filigree frames right now. Let me get rid of that. Establishing a line. almost there. Load bearing. Nice. Okay, cool. So there we have that, and now we can start adding in foliage. Grab some dark splotch there. We'll grab our trusty foliage branch. Conifer foliage. That's what this one's called. And we use the same brush to erase with. We'll flip it over like this. Erase those outliers. There we go. Man, I like that. This is already helping the frame a lot. That feels really, really nice. I like that. I really like that. Let's add in our next layer. We're gonna do this initially, but I think I'm gonna fade it. Oof, well, I made a mistake and didn't create a separate layer like I was supposed to, so let's take that all back and regret our decisions. There we go. Back at it. Oh, I erased too. I went back too far on the other one. It's not like I did it wrong. It's just I was over enthusiastic with my correction. Add in here and erase it down a little bit. I want to keep that dark canopy look, so I'm going to take the eraser here and hit it at around 30%. Start breaking that up, but I like that. Oh god, that feels so good. Look at that. That's fan-fucking-tastic. This tree is actually pissing me off, so this tree looks great. I actually don't need to do anything else with that tree until we start adding trunk texture. So that was ridiculously fast. Again, we'll do separate texturing for the all the trunks once we get through. We'll use the trunk texture to go back through the piece in reverse. But for now, we're just establishing where they're like having it without any texture right now. It's a bold, thick, solid, dark line. It really helps look at the balance of the page, like where things are at. And again, if we add in our filigree here, this little spot over here disappears. But hold on. Man, we're making progress today, guys. We're doing good. There's that, and there's that. I'm trying to track down this tree. There it is. That one. I want to take this one and scoot it over a little bit to chew up that space. That little block up there was pissing me off, so I wanted to break it up a little bit. That feels pretty good. And then we'll drop this down a bit to sink into the terrain. And no, I'm gonna have to leave that little gap there. It's bothering me, but Let's go stealing some trees. You. What does this do? Well, that's a horrible decision, Kearney. Don't do that. Let's stay on task. This is, yeah, I wanted to pick on this tree a little bit. Because this could be better. This. That's better. It was a small thing, but this little tick here was just bothering me. Where are you at? I'm doing all these little spot fixes here because I'm just seeing little scrubby bits that I feel could be better. Come on, buddy. Where you at? Where are you at? There you are. And this? How about this? Maybe this. I'm being picky because there's a lot of contrast here. This little spot of light here, so I need to make sure that the stuff that's visible, the negative shape that this sky is creating, I have to make sure that all the branches that are framing it look right, because the eye's immediately going to get pulled into that space. So it has to look logical again, so that the eye will just give it grace and ignore it. Like all these shapes here, these need to get broken up because they're too much of a pattern. So I got to go in here and trim away at some of that. Let's grab our conifer tips, add in just a little bit of additional texture. Let's grab that color. Small brush like this. I'm just going to tap and erase at that a little bit. Thank you, Timely Timer. I said thank you. Going like that, and then let's add in another layer. And then we'll break that up. Again, the closer we get to the camera, the more detail we need to change to change your eye's opinion about the details that are closer, so that you can trick it into ignoring the brush strokes and feeling like it's the same type of plant, just closer. So it's another layer of texture that we're adding in. Very small detail. But we know it's there. We know it's there, don't we? Yes, we do. Okay, this background is bothering me enough that I want to there. That feels better. Cool, I can hit save. Let's drop that tree together there. I'm gonna take another sip of water so I don't dehydrate. Okay, so this feels pretty good. All right, we're approaching the foreground now. This is great. I'm going to conceal that trunk for now. Let's grab this. That is not proper. So let's look at our composition. It's not too far off. We initially had the trunk here. So if I were to scooch it over like that, how does that feel? I don't like how that's breaking the frame. It's too thick of an object, too close to the camera to be this central to the piece. Normally, the further something away is, the more you can have it in the center of the piece. And the bigger something is, the more you want to have it offline, so you can part the layers to see further into the piece. So a thick, trunk like this should be offside on the page. There, we're going to let that be like that. But until then, let's take this. And, I mean, we're in the foreground, so let's do foreground themes, huh? Switch to our mountain chisel. I'm just going to add mass. Let's just add some mass. Let's just fill this shit in. Let's push this in. I don't have to worry about these tops too much, because we're gonna just put foliage over them anyway. But I did want to flesh this out just to have the shape. So we're going to essentially do the same thing as we've done on all these other knolls, but we're doing it closer. Just drop that down and push it over. Something like that. What time is it? 7:30? We're doing great. Still got solid 20 minutes for us to work through here. So what that means is that tomorrow we'll be able to work out the texture and drop in the fog. So let's see if we can get this shrubbery to where I want it to be by 8 o'clock. First I want to create a dip. Open this space a little bit and sculpt along here. Right now I'm being a lot more attentive to where I'm positioning this this mass here up front, because I don't want it, because it's creating this silhouette, so we have to respect the positioning on that. I'm going to drag that over so I can get rid of that little mark. That opened that up a little bit. I like that. This is lacking. This little pinch here is lacking detail, but we're gonna ground fog. Basically, like this will be a layer, and then we'll have a separate layer behind. Well, this will actually go out like this, but we'll conceal the stuff behind the shrubbery here, so it doesn't get in the way. And then we'll have a separate mist layer back here like this, and then we'll have foreground. So those will be the 1, 2, 3 layers of mist that we drop in, texturing, and then it should be good. So this is the closest to the camera we get, so we definitely want to use the darkest that we have on the map. Let's just assume that shape is looking good, and let's just build on it. So we'll take the we're gonna change up the texture for this one, since we're closest, since we're now closest to the camera than we have before. We've been able to use a pretty consistent pattern of brushes in these further away knolls and like this shrubbery. This is all basically using, like this used one type of brush, and these here use 2 types of brushes. So when we get up here into the foreground, we want to use 3 different types of brushes, and we want to use a different brush than what we have before. If we don't, yeah. So I'm going to take this conifer tip brush that we've been using, and I'm going to use that as our base foundation first, because it immediately changes the language of what type of a bush this is compared to the other ones. So closest to the camera, totally different type of vegetation. So your eye doesn't have anything to compare it to. So by changing what type of shrubbery it is, it will disregard this color information from this color information, and you won't have a perspective issue as a result of it. And you see how I had it tapping in one way like this, and now I'm flipping it over and using the other side of it to create a more rounded, less asymmetrical sort of brush effect in here. Texture, shrubbery texture. We're going to fill that in, and then we're going to use the same eraser at 30%, and we're going to tap erase at some of this to again create that fading sunlight, that fading light effect into the foliage. And using the same brush allows us to reinforce the new texture that we've established. And then we'll do it again, layering over what we take away from here. That was too much too fast, so I need to add some of that back in there. Like that. Now we'll add in a new layer and do the same again. Little subtle shapes and lighting that goes in through here adds a lot to just giving your eye something and an illusion to trick itself with. Because if your eye likes, if you like the piece, you want it to work. So your eye is motivated to create solutions. I'm actually going to take this and smudge this down a little bit here. And then I'm going to erase at that to create the negative effect. And now a third layer. It's a very large mass. So I'm thinking I want to bring it down to open up that space a little bit more. Feels really, really good. Really, really liking this. But I need to add in a new layer here. See, look, the foliage just manifests. Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. It just snaps into being. These brushes are great. I'm really proud of how well these brushes all turned out. Take this and let's push it back. Say here a little bit. I really want to push something out here like that. That feels pretty good. Did my music stop? Son of a bitch, my music stopped. I use Epidemic streaming services for my stock music background. I hope everyone is having a Smashtastic Thursday. I stream 9 times per week, Monday through Friday in the morning like this. We do artwork. I do Dungeons and Dragons game design. Tuesday and Friday lunch times, and Monday and Thursday nights. So I will be doing more D&D game design this evening. It's 7:45 now here in Seattle AM. So I'll be back in about 10 hours to do some game design tonight. We're continuing to work on the alternate magic system, Martial Powers, to give all D&D characters the same spell point mana pool to fuel different actions, heroic actions, stuff that characters can do. I'm going to tilt this. tilt feels pretty good. Yeah, let's see if we can do that. That feels pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll just bind all these together. It's all the same color, single mass, merge. That's your uncle. Let's take 10% here and just add some subtle texture. The 10% eraser, it's just erasing a little bit of the foreground color over the background. Look at that. It's very subtle, but there's all this interesting foliage stuff happening inside of here, and your eye's going to pick up all those details as depth of detail. Let's do that. Like this. So all of this becomes color information that we can use to further sculpt this foreground. And I don't want it to be too dense, because if it's too large, it's going to overwhelm the composition in the foreground. So I'm being very picky about what the positioning on this is. And this is starting to be about the size and shape that I want it, like at the bottom edge of the page there. That's actually looking pretty good, because now this is helping reinforce this curve effect here. Before, it was biting into the curve. Now I feel like it's actually leaning into the curve a little bit. There. I think that's just about perfect. That feels pretty balanced. Cool. So we can have that sit. So now we'll add in another layer of color. Let's go over to, let's play over here. We haven't grabbed much texture off of here. I've been saving this for the foreground. There. So now we're going to layer in sorry, my chat window is being blocked. Let's see. Okay, so we want, it's the same forest, so it's going to have similar shrubbery, so we do need to use some of the same language, but we can use it in a different way. So we're going to take this, which has been our base brush, the base texture that we've been using, and we're going to repurpose it to be the mid-level. So we're going to use, this is going to be way too bright, but it's the place to start. So first thing, I'm going to tap this here, and then here, and then here. See, I'm lining up on the angles that we've established. We're going to use the same eraser, the same brush to erase. Let's take it to 100%. Let's knock some space out in there. We can drop that in. Again, 100% strength. So wherever the pattern of color we added, align. Come on, kid. Timing. I'm trying. Thank you. Jesus. The drag that's on this piece is getting real. Where the pixel information was added with the paintbrush, and we're using the same brush to erase, so it has all these little gaps to it. So like when I tap here, it's not gonna like it's not like this, like this little shape here. This eraser is not going to get rid of all of it, because the eraser itself has so many holes in the brush shape. Now this is using the same brush method of adding and then erasing with the same brush. helps reinforce the pattern. So we have our highlight there first, and then we'll add another layer, and we'll add in another layer. I'm thinking rosemary bush with the patterning here. Again, we are using an eraser. I'm going to use a low opacity eraser now. Very light. So it has that fading into the woodwork sort of erasure occurring here. Taking the trunk into account to create some cast shadowing in here. There, that's pretty good. I want to add another layer on top of this to help reinforce this. See, I'm using this. I'm actively preserving these tips that we have going on here because that changes the shape of the bush that we're portraying, which is different from different from other bushes that we've had in the background. It's an additional layer of detail that your eye can start to accept and then ignore. And erase at this to blend it into the mass overall. Just a light dusting of erase just to take the edges off here and there. And then we'll add in another layer. Nah, that one's too close, too big, too soon. Too foreground. It breaks the illusion. So let's do that again. This time with this density. This we can get away with. We want to bring this over a little bit here. Push that in a little bit, and then we'll do another layer. There we go. This is looking pretty good. And again, this is eating into the text, so like this is gonna like somewhere like around here is where the actual break line is. So a lot of this is gonna end up getting clipped. Let's let's actually take a second here. Because we're in the foreground now, so I think this is about where we want to start looking at our masking layer. So let's add a mask here, and let's just grab first just a round brush and drop in here. All that. So this is what the actual frame of the piece looks like. Just bringing in a touch a little bit more. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, and now we're going to grab our cloud brush, and we've got a really 20% is a pretty low opacity, so we can go into here and start smudging this in as a fade effect. This fuzzy edge is something that we pretty consistently do. Fuzz, fuzz, fuzz. There. And then we can separate this. Push it over a little bit to help bleed that out. Here we go. Add our filigree back in for the framing that we'll have, and that's how it's going to sit. And that's a pretty strong composition. So we can come back through and we can do a little bit of some highlights here for flower tips. And then we'll be resolving the foreground trunk, and then fading back further, adding in some mist, and then the piece will be done. So I think tomorrow, I think we'll have this thing finished tomorrow. So give me a few more minutes here now. Let's bring that forward a smidge. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Excuse me for a second. Trying to see if there's any value in having the mountains poking through back here or not. I'm feeling not. Well, we know they're back there. Actually, I could drop the elevation a little bit to have them poking through. Maybe like that would be okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's focus on where we're at. Stay focused, Kearney. You're getting excited about almost being done, and we are very close to being done. that all together. And then on top of that, let's grab, this color is now acceptable, grab again. This time, let's go down to our corn husk. See if we can do some fun with this. Do I like that? Not really. Not really. So let's try something different. Actually, let's look at the faded. Let's look at the faded bush. Faded foliage might be what we want right here, right now. Possibly. Possibly. All right, let's play with this idea for a minute, see where it takes us. I'm not 100% on it yet, but if we get lucky, I could be convinced. Right now we're adding a texture. The effort here is to create a texture that's going to break up the just the roundedness of the brush strokes that we already have. Like they're just basically a bunch of dots, which the eye will accept as foliage, but by adding a different type of texture over it, it helps. It makes the medicine go down better, you know. We're just doing striation, just like we did already with the other layer, but this time it's a paint over, just to add again another just level of complexity in the texture. But we're going to drop the opacity on this so it doesn't stand out as much. So now it just becomes just more texture. What's up? Hey, Domo. Dots equal wiggles plant. Dots plus wiggles. Yeah, exactly. Dot plus wiggle equals plants. Exactly. You know this score. That's feeling pretty good. I feel like I want to overlay this. Nope, I can't be on the same layer. That's a fallacy. There. Same brush to erase with, and I only want to use 30%-ish here. when I do close-up foliage work like this, there's the risk of having too much texture and detail. So when you pan out, it just turns into mush. We were seeing mush happening because I didn't have enough dark space just sitting inside there. So I had to add another layer to help evade that problem. So let's go in here and grab this again. Be here like that. And then, oops, I'm going to use the same brush to erase as we add. Nice low 20-ish%. Yeah, 20%. And I want to focus over here to curve that into the dark while leaving this lighter so it comes forward towards the camera. The lightness comes towards the camera, the darkness recedes from the camera. So by having an angle here that's sharp, it takes it from there to a more narrow, directly facing the plane. No. No. Good. Here. Fade that in a little bit. There we go. So I'm just pushing this around a little bit to see where I like it. That feels pretty good. I have a little bit of space for some really, really sharp foreground. Even sharper than that. Let's see where these are at and like crank it up. All right, this will be the last bit of layering that I need on this foreground. So let's see, what's a brush that I want to use? No, let's keep it simple. Let's just go with the same foliage texture brush. But we're going to erase with a high bias. Let's tap. Here, here. Yeah, nope, that's not the brush I want to use. Oh my god, do I have to go in and individually snipe positions? Hold on. Thank you, Timely Timer, for keeping time with me. It is 8:10. I am way past my 8 o'clock normal ending time, but little did you know, I actually have today off. So I can now go into bonus time. And we can continue working on this piece. Haha. Do I want to do that? No, I do not want to do that. Let's just take a dot. If I start doing this, I'm sticking myself for doing little clusters. I don't know if I want to commit to that. Considering that you can't see those clusters in the foggy background like at all. It's probably not a good idea to do this. So I'm going to erase that. And I'm going to reapproach. Okay, so let's reapproach. Do we need another color, another layer of color depth? Let's just assume the answer is no. And so how are we sitting? Hey, we can get rid of that layer. There. What if I took all of this? If I drop the opacity, it washes out. If I keep it sharp, it's too sharp. Yeah, I think this is actually sitting pretty. Hey, what's up? Domo! Woo! Bonus time. What up, my guy? Don't wear yourself out though. Take breaks. Yes, you're right. It's I don't want to burn out. I'm allowing myself to float over. I will not be back on camera until probably like around 5:30 tonight, which will be 9.5 hours from now. 9.5-ish hours from now. And I'm just going to be working off screen, listening to music, whatever, through the rest of the... Yeah, honestly, no, I think this is fine. I think that is... I'm going to leave that shrubbery there like that before we up and ruin anything. So let's drop that down. And now we have this last tree to contend with. Again, we're going with the idea of snap branches at lower levels. Since we're so close to the camera, I'm taking care to sculpt these in particular. Just make sure I like the way that they're actually looking. Like that. One, two, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we have that there, and now we're going to use our mountain chisel. We're going to make it really thin. So, same shape, but really, really thin now. And then we're going to drop down the size. And we're just going to dot down the length of the trunk here, adding in this texture, and then we'll erase it. To add diversity, because this is looking pretty patterned, right? That's not natural. Just down the line into the shrubbery. And we'll come back through, and we're just gonna just tap, tap, tap at it. Go back through. And erase again. Layer. I would not want to do this level of detail. Like this is pretty. This is pretty heavy. Like I couldn't do this for the tree trunks that are further back. By establishing this texture up front, we're going to allow the eye to just lazy in the rest of the details further back in the page. And you'll see how we further adjust this in a moment, but I'm being very meticulous about adding in all of these as separate layers so that we can erase the closest layer without damaging the trunk texture that we have going on underneath it. So again, we just come back through, we just tap at this to destroy some of that language. Tap, tap, tap. And then we'll increase the size of the brush a tick on this one so that the pattern's a little bit bigger. Again, the curve of the trunk will naturally have things that are closer to the middle of the trunk to be closer to the camera lens, so it will be larger. It also allows us to break up the pattern so that your eye doesn't catch any replication. Otherwise you might not want it to. There's that, and then just keep erasing on through here. There. Okay, now what we can do is I can take that and I can push it open a little bit here, and then a little bit here, a little here. Here. Let's line that up. So let's get that lined up. That feels good. Get rid of that. There. There. All right, and now we can take these and drop them down to, maybe around 80%. Let's go to 90% there, and then take these, we can drop them down to 80%. And then we can take this one and drop it down to 70%-ish. bad. I think I want to have another texture underneath it, though. Let's grab a good old round brush. What the deuce? Oh, that makes sense. Like, what? How does this be? I get it. Here, let's take that. Let's do this over again like this. Needs to be more subtle. About like that. How's that feeling? This. One more layer of this should do. Too much. There we go. Erase that this a little bit. We are in overtime. Normally I'm not on stream this late, but I have the day off, so I'm indulging in a little extra time spent here on camera with you guys. We're so close to finishing the piece. I don't want to make the mistake of 1 second. Let's duplicate this group, merge it down, conceal the other group. I feel like I want to experiment. Hold on real quick. Duplicate the layer here. Let's conceal the original. And I'm just going to... Yeah, no, did not like that. Let's go with our mountain. Let's get the chisel. No, let's get the razor instead. Mountain razor. I'm going to go with 100% strength on the just going to pull up the pixels a little bit here. Just to break up the shapes a little bit. It's a small, probably inconsequential detail, but I'm looking at it. So I wanted to make the change. Let's drop that a little bit further in. Do I even want that? Not really. Hold on. Yeah, no. Okay, I don't think I need this. Let's get rid of that layer. And let's get back into this. This way. And erase a little bit at the bottom here. All right, let's do that some more. And then up here. There we go. And then up here. Zero. Being picky about our lines, just make sure that they line up properly. And then erase with a low opacity to trim through that. There we go. There. Let's grab some highlight here. Here we go. Like that. And then another layer on top here to highlight. Pull these forward a little bit. Good. Zero. Over and erase it a little bit. There we go. We found it. Good edge. Good edge. 100%. Help destroy some of the patterning on it. And here. This is the same brush that we use for snow peaks on mountains. So it's a really versatile brush. It does a lot. Ask a lot of it, but it performs. There, and then let's take this, grab some of this and drag it down. Here, and now let's erase here. Sorry, I started concentrating. Trunk work is it just requires a little bit more concentration than just general terrain, because I'm being very specific. So I don't talk as much when I have to concentrate. But the effects are turning out pretty nicely. I cannot complain about the result. So I'll do one more, and then we'll be able to move on. And then we'll do another highlight layer along the edge of the trunk. The brush is slightly larger as we move further down the trunk. Stab at thee, I stab at thee. Hey, what's up? Hey, oi. Thank you. I am glad you agree. It does exactly what we need it to do, which is the best thing you could ask. Like they say, technically correct is the best sort of correct. Erase that a little bit. And I'll probably want to do another layer of that to overlap to match the pattern that we've already established. So let's go here, and then we'll use, we'll reduce the opacity a little bit to help darken it as it curves away from the edge where the highlight would be. There, and we'll stab at thee. Stab at thee. I stab at thee. Stab, stab, stab. Break all that up. There we go, and let's drop the opacity a bit. Have it curving around. I actually probably want to take 100% off of that and probably bring that down like around 75%, and then this one more like, there we go, about like that. Let's break this one a little bit. And we need to darken there. That one is okay. This needed to happen. And this needs to happen here. Something's wrong. Hold on. There and here. That feels better. It's not perfect though. I still need, let's see, I need another highlight layer here just to finish the curve. Whoa, you're very, very bright, sir. Very, very bright. Let's grab that. I said that. Yeah? No? Come on, buddy. Help me out here. Thank you. That's the color that I wanted. Thank you. Add up a little bit. A little bit more so we can drop the opacity on that just to finish up the curve. it up. None of the other trees are going to need nearly this level of intensity, but that was the kind of the point that we were making, right? That we want to have more detail in the foreground than we're going to see anywhere else, so that your eye will be able to start that. See, look at that. That density is looking really good. Like that's just good. Your eye is easily going to fake that texture for it. Super easy to do. Now that we have that established, we can start dusting in other areas. Boy, that was a lot. That was no joke. That was a lot. Let's take all of it. Just reduce the opacity just a smidge on it to take the edge off. There, that feels pretty good. No. There. We are ridiculously close to being done with this piece. What time is it? 8:42. Nah, let's not finish it today. We'll leave that for tomorrow. We'll put the mist. I'm going to finish the trunks for now, but then we're going to put in the mist and stuff tomorrow. That feels like fun. Give us a reason to come back tomorrow morning, right? Want to see it finished? Like, subscribe, bell icon, notifications. You'll be in the know. There we go. I like that. That feels good. Let's take that same general color that we're using there, and then let's come over to this tree. Where is that tree? There it is. Thank you. Yeah. We'll finish these trunks because these will take a little bit. So we'll finish the trunks, and then tomorrow we will come back. We will add mist onto the ground. We'll do composition balance, framing, and then finish the piece. I would have liked to have finished this piece yesterday, but I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain about the results is everything, and I am very, very pleased with how this is turning out. I am usually very pleased with how my Bob Ross paintings turn out, but this one in particular, I'm pretty happy about. Keep adding some texture in, and then we'll erase and add and erase and add. that. Erase. Yeah, that feels pretty good. And let's add in another layer on top for the lulls. Reduce the opacity on this one so it fades into the curve. Hey, what's up, new text? Give me a second. What's up? Domo? I just keep imagining a purple butterfly or something in the center right of the image. Just the tiniest hint of color in an otherwise quite earthly toned image, but that's just my brain, I guess. Is it is there not enough variety? That I will say, me lacking color vision, that is one of my major issues. Is little like I'm not good with color pops. Yeah, well, see, that's all the information I really need for that trunk. It's looking pretty good. And then we'll do a separate layer for the branches. I'm gonna hit save real quick because it feels like it needs to save. There we go. And then flip. Underside. Underside. Erase like that. Erase like that. Add just one more striation here on the trunk. Striation is not the right word there. Just another curve. Text, what's up? Hey, the colors are consistent and make sense for being near the dark spook zone. I wouldn't expect much vibrancy left from an area like that anyway. Okay, well, that's reassuring. This is where my gut led me. And most of the time it's been, I mean, in the early years, I got color wrong all the time. Like, all the fucking time. It was a wreck. I'm pretty confident about my palette decisions these days just because I'm so meticulous about using color references off of photos. But that's not to say I haven't fucking made mistakes. And it's always appreciated to get a gut check from people that can actually see color, you know, that are the ones that are supposed to be enjoying the piece, to make sure that I'm on script, you know. So I appreciate that. I do not mind the occasional shit testing or just checking in to see, like, am I actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, I don't mind those things. What I don't like is when the audience tries to second guess my decisions. But I don't feel like that's what you did at all. You triggered a concern. It's like, wait a second, is this too monotone? And you've helped reassure that no, we're actually looking okay here. So again, I really appreciate it. Thank you. That. Not bad. Three. This is at 60%. This one's at 52. Get out of here. Let's take this one. Actually, let's bring that one up a little bit. There we go. That feels better. Okay, great. I like that. That's a good looking trunk to me. Good looking trunk. Good looking trunk. Next, we're running out of trunks that we need to work on, but we got to work on them. Trunk, and where are you at? Off the frickin' page. Good. Here, foliage. Let's go down to our trunk here. Hey, what's up? It's your art. I can give opinions or ideas, but you are never under any obligation to listen to anything I say. Let's just hold that mutual respect. That if you have a thought, I will hear it, but I have no obligation to act upon it. That feels sovereign for everyone. Just a random dude. Let's hit the hard eraser 100%. Just drop in here and break up the texture a little bit here. Like, that's all I need there. See, okay, so you see this, right? Like, here's the most dense texturing for the foreground. Obviously looks like bark. Here we're transitioning in, and we have less detail on this one, and we have even less detail here, but it's still consistent. It's the same sort of patterning. I actually need to drop the opacity there. Stab at thee. I stab at thee. I stab at thee. Wrong button. There. Nope. There. There. What's up? Oh, I thought there was more text. Fair enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. Becoming critical of this foliage that we have here, so I'm going to grab my conifer tips. Where are you at, conifer? There you are. Conifer tips. Erase at these a little bit to break up the patterns. It's looking a little bit too patterny. Dust at those a little bit. Again, because they're so central, I need to be picky about how they look. So I'm using a lower opacity eraser to fade in the shadow effect of the above canopy and to help break up the shape of these painting fronds. For lack of, I guess, I know that's not the right word, but fronds it is. There we go. That immediately feels better. And let's see. So that takes care of these trees. Let's find the next group that needs to be handled. There it is. Oof, that's a big one. Hey, there you go, buddy, right up front. Happy to take you on. I'm pretty happy with the fronds on this plant. This one, yeah, no, they're good. They're good. This one might need a little bit of texture treatment, but I think it's okay. I do want to just hit the trunk here real quick. Again, just with a little splash of color to add dimensionality to it. I want to use a smaller brush. These brushes are too big. I need to use a much smaller brush. Let's go back to our chisel. Wrong one. Chisel. Very good. 30% eraser. Just dotting away at it. And I'm just going to add one more layer here, like that. Just bip this on, and then we'll drop the opacity and erase at its edges a little bit as well, just to break up the shape. Let's drop the opacity first. There. Break up the shape. There, easy enough. That one was easy to do. See, it's at this point it's just a hint of texture, but it's enough to break up that, like, you can tell this is a solid line. This has texture. It's incredibly subtle, but the eye catches it, and it can quickly shorthand, oh, this is just pockmarks of this. Like your eye is just automatically going to read and accept these texture changes. It just feels natural. There we go. Next one, same treatment. Same technique, just a smaller brush. Dot that in there to fade it in a little bit. And then, you know what, that felt like it was too much. I'm going to, yeah, we're at 30%, that's okay. Yep, dab at that a little bit, add on another layer. We'll do like this. Opacity a little bit, bring it down, there we go, and then we tap again at it and fade it in, and there. I will just simply accept that's texture. There you go. Yep. Fade further back. Do I even need you? What value do you hold? I see. Let's be here. Your value isn't in your trunk. Your value is here. I'm going to drop that down. And we're going to grab our conifer brush here with a very low opacity eraser and just tap at this a little bit to break up the shape. Hey, what's going on? I keep thinking I see text happening down here, but I don't think it's happening. Nope. Something's just dancing on the edge of my periphery. I don't know. Maybe it's my water trying to grab my attention. That felt good. Ah, there you are, buddy. Okay, we can take this. We can also hit you with conifer brush tips as an eraser to get rid of some of that texture, just to bring you down a touch. Nice. That feels pretty good. And we just have to do just a whisper of texture back here. We are so close to done with this piece, guys. That's literally all we needed for that. Just that little tiny dot. And the rest of these guys all look pretty damn good. Holy Hannah. Hey, what's up? Text gremlins everywhere. I know, right? For reals. The only thing that's really left here is mist. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. Is it really? It's just 9 o'clock? Fuck it, let's finish it. Let's just finish it. Let's get to a place. Hold on. Yeah, that feels better immediately. Breaking up that trunk there, that helped. Subtle detail. It's just a matter of layering. It was improperly layered. There's that tree there in the background. That's there. Looks like this is where the mist layer is supposed to go in. I'm gonna copy here. I'm gonna save real quick. Right, and let's go grab crystals, art. Flora. Hopefully this doesn't make my computer cry trying to open this. I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee while I wait to see if this file will open or not and kill my computer or not. It shouldn't be that... I don't think there's a lot of this. You know what? This is going to take a moment. I'm going to go refresh my coffee. I'll be right back. Yeah, all we need to do is add mist along the ground and we're going to be pretty much good to go. Coffee. Oh my god, are you still trying to load? Son of a... I immediately regret my decision on opening this. There it is. Okay, well, I recant that regret. Come on, baby. Open the file. You can do it. You can do it. Good thing we saved. Okay, here we go. Let's see. So this is our slightly greenish twinge. This is emitted by the different types of plants that this is just plague moss that grows on everything. This is Lotharia vulpina, which creates a noxious poison gas. And these are florets, which are like dandelions, but when they hit something, they cause whatever it hits to decay and rot and create a necrotic soil that's appropriate for these different plants to grow in. It's a Mabaran plane of undead, has a different sort of a different sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Evolution of plant life than get that out of the way. Let's go up here to references. Heyo. Don't mind me, I'm just fucking huge. Don't mind me, I'm just word salading for a bit. Okay, we're just gonna take a round brush and we're gonna use our cloud brush. It's gonna be super simple. So we're just gonna put in a smear across here. And then we're going to take our cloud brush. Just gonna work it like a cloud. What's up? So more of Eberron will really set the spook. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And again, we're just using smudging just little swirls and jiggity jags to create the little. It's just fog is just ground clouds. It's the same technique, just a different elevation. And I'll drop the opacity to have it fade in a little bit, but stacking up layers will add intensity and thicken it over, thicken the opacity of it. So I can have a light opacity initially in the background, and then as I continue stacking up into the foreground, it becomes thicker and denser. So it adds more reference information. That's not quite the right word I'm looking for. Let's take a lower percent brush, like what do we have, 30% right now? There we go. Just working it into the canvas. Hell yeah. Maybe a little sharper, maybe like around there. There we go. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Ain't gonna lie. Pretty happy with that. Now let's find the next layer. Here. Oh, wait. Here's our next point of insertion. Back. Just fog it up, blend it in, reduce the opacity, add to the density, and then move to the next layers. We're just moving through the layers and just dropping in fog between the layers. It just makes it all just fade into itself. Yeah. God, I keep seeing things in the corner of my eye happening in chat. Yeah, right, man. There's chat gremlins. Maybe there's self-deleting bots. Who knows? It's like, I'm a bot. I'm here to make... Oh, I immediately regret my decision. I recant. You know, like, it just disappears. Like, in a flash of an eye. It's like, oh, no, we shouldn't mess with this guy. That's looking pretty good. That is looking pretty good. There's text. Any bots or extra text, so it must be. It's my own personal insanity coming through. Don't mind me. There we go. Okay, that feels pretty good. So now let's look at our foregrounds here. And stitch that one up. Yes. There we are. So this is our next point here. Here. Increase the intensity, up the opacity to 60%-ish. Yeah, 67, whatever. We'll drop the opacity again once we go through here. Again, just the subtle opacity build up over time. It just starts to accumulate on everything. That didn't make any sense. There. Let's drop the opacity a bit. Something like that. Oh, that's right, because I'm using too high a strength of a smudge brush at this time. I need to drop down the strength of that so I can work it in like atmosphere. There we go. That's feeling better already. Do want another layer here. Higher strength. Smudge it in. And then a lower strength to soften in. Go 100% eraser here. Dab at the terrain a little bit. That's looking really good. I have no complaint about any of this right now. This all feels really, really good. Here's our foreground. I just need just a bit inside here, not too much. Just down here to break up the ground a little bit. Drop the opacity down to make it a little bit more wispy. Let's drop the opacity. Actually want to thicken this up to break up that edge. Drop the opacity so it's a softer brush. Smudge it in. Again, all these brushes that I'm using, they're on my Patreon. You can download them for yourself for your own graphics program if you're into doing art like this. And all I ask is that you just follow me, and you'll be able to open it up. So much appreciation to folks that have been subscribing and liking and sharing. It's really appreciate it. So shared my brush set as a sign of appreciation. There. Let's work that in. There. That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. This I think can be a little less. That feels about right. I'm okay with that as is. this tree over here is disconnected. I need to figure out what his story is. I know I messed with him at some point. There it is. You need some conifer tip erasing too. There we go. That was easy. Cool. Okay. Hey. I'm just at this point. I'm just kind of nitpicking. It's essentially done. Let's see. So now I can just futz with the layers a little bit. Whew, boy, this is a big one. There it is. I'm looking at this tree right here. I want to see if I can. Yeah, I just wanted to elevate that one a little bit. And I can scoot it over a smidge. Okay. I think I'm just gonna let this one be. I could probably add in some more tree texture back here to make it denser, but if I make the forest too dense, I don't think it'll be fun. I'm pretty happy with it. Hey, what's up? The fog bit at the front is still white. The rest of the fog image is now a light pale green. So maybe do some of the color cloud stuff at the front tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the shout out on that. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, I see it. No, no, I don't specifically want it to. I think that was just an oversight on my part. Appreciate you calling that out. Maybe I would have caught it eventually, but you certainly helped expedite that. That is the sort of feedback and I can certainly appreciate. So thank you. Let's just resolve that. Better off already. Thank you. I do want to drop it a little bit. I want it a little bit lighter in the front. Drop the opacity on the smudge tool. Thank you Very appreciated. Truly. And he has a decent piece. Let's drop this guy into our references. Make the references disappear. Not bad. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with this little section over here. So we'll probably figure something out about that. But this is, I'm going to call this, I think I can call this done. I can probably, hold on. I'm probably going to end up futzing with layers for a while. I like where that tree is at. I like where that's at. Where are you at? Nope. Where are you at? There you are. So let's take this one. There, that feels better. Nope. What's up? Yeah, so far so good, right? Thanks, Doma. Hey, Tyler, how you doing? Good timing. Yeah, we're just finishing up this piece. I'm just futzing with layers a little bit, just repositioning the composition, but this is our karrnwood. This is where our characters are adventuring to get to the manifest zone. All you gotta do is just follow the mist. It'll lead you right to it. Ooh, I see an opportunity. Let me add in some here. Yeah, I have the day off, so I had some some extra time this morning to work on the composition. So it's like what, like 9:30 now? Yeah, 9:30. It's good to see you, Tyler. Let's drop the opacity a bit. Really low opacity. We're at 20% strength on our smudge brush. Just to let's get that a little down in there. That feels really good. There. There we go. Hit save real quick before something horrible happens. Man, I like it. And yeah, I think I can go ahead and sign off on this one. Hey, what's up? Can't enhance abilities. Thanks, T. Yeah. Here we go. We'll go ahead and call this done. So I'm going to bounce out of here. I think on tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? We still have some maps to make, and I'm still making pine tree tokens. My goal is to finish the pine tree tokens today and to start on the environment. Right on, my man. It's Thursday. It'll be this evening, so I'll be back on stream to do game design in about 8 hours ish, 8 to 8.5 hours, somewhere in like that 5:30 to 6 o'clock point here in West Coast, which is -8 UTC. So this is done. I'm happy with it. I might end up fucking around with it a little bit more, but basically it's done. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Yeah, we don't have a lot of illustration. We have like maybe one other illustration that requires like not even like half this space. I don't think we have anything that's going to be a heavy lift like this anymore. But if we do, we'll see what we can do to do more environments, because I can fill space. Like these are so much faster to do than like any other intricate detail work that I do at all. Because I spent a long time on figuring out how to use these brushes. And again, these are on my Patreon. You can, anyone that just follows me on Patreon can download the ABR brush set that I published. But yeah, that's it for now. I'm going to bounce out of here. I'll be back in 8-ish hours, and see you guys on the other side. I'm here 9 times per week, Monday through Friday in the morning, doing artwork like this, and then in the afternoons and lunch times, I do game design for 5e that we build in the books that we then illustrate. So you can watch the whole process from ideation to publication. There you go. So see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot. Bye, guys.